Hi, I'm in New York tonight, here for one night for meetings tomorrow. Thought I'd record for a moment here about an idea struck me in the middle of the night last night about post-reductionism. Reductionism is the process by which we have taken for a couple centuries now and broken problems down into smaller and smaller pieces, taken and determined them. There's kind of a hierarchy of how these you take big problems like science and you break it down into its various domains of physics, chemistry, biology, and each one of those gets broken down. And at the bottom, as you get down to the narrowest part, the smallest part, each piece that's broken down, it can be understood better by having limited the scope of what needs to be investigated. Problem with this idea, the idea of post-reductionism, is that we're now at a point where with the traditional hierarchies we've used, that the pieces that we've broken down are so small that it's difficult to find new or large new pieces of things that we haven't known before, and that there's other areas, other ways of looking at the world that may yield more knowledge than what we can understand by breaking down and studying smaller and smaller pieces, as some have said, studying smaller and smaller things until we know everything about nothing. So why am I talking about this? Well, the idea is that, in my mind, is that there's a similar concept in the way our organizations are structured in hierarchies, and particularly in financial services. The structure that we've used for building our financial systems has been around for a number of decades, been grown up mostly by products, would be kind of the first pieces where loans were in one processing system, deposits were in another processing system, trading systems with its various components, various kinds of trades grew up as their own individual pieces. And that hierarchy has stayed. Then there's also, beside this, in a certain sense, there's the elements of the financial system, the risk systems, the other support and back office systems. And that sort of hierarchy has stayed there for quite a while. The idea was that if maybe we think of that as the reductionist sort of view of the world as well, would there be something to be gained by thinking about post-reductionism? What would that look like? If we took that hierarchy and we kind of stood it on its end, and instead of trying to go down the hierarchy, we cut across the hierarchy, what would be the things to be gained? One thing that I think is that one thing that cuts across the hierarchy, and we're starting to see the problems in our traditional breakdown of these problems, is that customer got lost in the traditional hierarchy, because we didn't keep track very well of customers across the different products, and yet customer cuts across most of those products. It's ended up that way, that most customers have multiples of the products, 2, 3 types of products. So if we start to change this, and maybe there's another way of thinking about it, maybe services are another thing that cuts across these hierarchies, and perhaps vendors or service providers, either internal organizations or external organizations, also cut across those hierarchies, because the way that they're served by the different channels, the transactions that customers want to be able to accomplish on the internet, they want to cut across all their products and be able to manage everything about their interaction with the organization. I think that idea of post-reductionism, as we consider cutting across the hierarchy and its implications, maybe there's a lot more to be gained by thinking about the problem in a new way, than instead of analyzing and trying to innovate more and more in a smaller and smaller space. There may be a significant change that could occur because of that.